Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brian McLogan, and this is my office hours for day 7 of online learning. I decided to add an extra live stream for this online learning or distance learning that myself and many teachers, as well as students, have been trying to navigate here for the last couple weeks. So we actually kind of got started with this last week. And with all the changes, I was going live every single day. And then I was like, I'm just going to keep on going live every single night. And then this week is actually when we officially got our education, meeting with our classes online. And I quickly realized that going live 3 times a day with my students and then going live at night was overkill. It was a lot, but I did want to kind of start the live stream with just kind of letting you know how my first week went, some kind of takeaways that I kind of had, and then kind of proceed through maybe some of your questions that you guys have, and then also we'll get to some math as well. I did have some pre-submitted questions that I always like to add in for a little bit of a live stream. So the way that I worked on with my classes is we finished up our last unit for our quarter right before spring break. And of course, I had students that were absent, that did not take like the final test, that did not get their homework turned in, and everything else. So we got our quarter extended, and so some of the students are preparing on working on turning in that stuff to finish off the quarter, because right now they have a 0 for that. And also, since we're doing so many like new things, everybody's kind of getting used to this, I decided just to hold off on teaching anything new until we kind of get our feet under ourselves and we really like understand what we're doing and how we're doing it. So for this first week, I actually didn't do any instruction with my students. I just wanted to kind of get used to talking to them and then also showing up for my live streams, and then just kind of giving them an idea. And again, my pacing, we were pretty good, or we had definitely a lot of flexibility because I've been staying pretty on points throughout the whole year. So we definitely have some flexibility to kind of use these first 2 weeks of really kind of getting used to it, getting used to distance learning, as well as to allow some of the students that need that time to, retake the test and turn in some work, to get that over with so they can wrap up their quarter 3 grades. And then we can start quarter 4, hopefully with a strong start. But as far as the first week went, it was actually really surprising. I was actually really taken aback on how excited I was just to see people's little faces. I did a YouTube live stream with them. It was just just an unlisted, not a public live stream, so it was only for my class. But it was kind of funny, just even seeing their little avatars. Just was like I knew they're there, and it was just really exciting just to have the students back kind of in a little classroom. And what I basically did is I just did a live stream where I just kind of explained everything to them. And it was only about 15-20 minutes for each class. And, a lot of them had some work that they still need to be working on and stuff. So I just kind of covered really everything that I wanted them to know. But the amazing thing that I got from this was how exhausted I was. I've been a teacher for, a while, and I've gone through classes and I guess it was one of those things that was kind of funny. Sometimes when we have like those test days where you give a test like or a quiz for like every single class period, and it's just kind of funny. You're like, why am I exhausted at the end of the day? I didn't do any teaching, and then there's others days where you're like constantly teach, and like handling everything. And you're just like adrenaline rushed, not even tired by like the end of the day. And it was just kind of weird. Like these first 3 days has really taken a lot out of me. That's why like yesterday or on Monday after I did my live stream, I'm like, there's no way I can continue going live every single night after doing these, 3 live streams, because even though I'd have a little bit extra time to decompress after doing my live stream to the next class, I was still answering questions from students. They're still messaging me. I couldn't really do any work. I couldn't like prepare my notes or anything else I really wanted to, because I was just constantly doing work. So even though I wasn't live in front of them, it was like I was constantly doing things. So that's kind of how the first week kind of went. It was I would say it was definitely enjoyable. I did really enjoy having that interaction again, outside of my lovely family and just friends and family on the phone. So it was really nice to kind of get that interaction with students, because we really did, we have we spent a lot of time with each other throughout this whole week. So that's why it's really nice this came in at the end of the year where we really now kind of have a dynamic. I think this would be really difficult at the beginning of the year where you don't really have that dynamic with your students. There's a lot of those like inside jokes, how the students behave, you just kind of know how to handle each other. But at the beginning of the year, you don't know any of that. And it takes a while to really get used to the students and the students to get used to you. So it was pretty comforting to kind of get back into the rhythm of things. But that is how I had my first week. And I want to let you know also when I get into instruction, I am going to kind of use the flipped, for any teachers out there, I'm going to be using the flipped classroom technique, which actually I'll get to a little bit later. But anyways, I just want to say hi to a couple of you guys, Aquatic and Guardo, Pianist, Ali, Mozart, Essential, Taco. Thank you very much, guys, for joining in. Aiden, awesome. I will kind of scroll back up, guys, and see if I do have some questions. I do kind of plan on being live here for roughly around 30 minutes and taking a look at some of your questions. Awesome, good. Well, I'm glad you guys are from all around taking some pre-calculus. Can you solve that, please? Ali, that's a question I would not be able to do on the live stream. I would definitely have to take one for this. Going through, just kind of looking through some of those. I know I would like to go live every day, and maybe it's just kind of difficult at this moment in time to be doing the live streams every single. And the other thing too, the other reason why I wanted to kind of hold off on my live stream, or at least at night, was just the make sure I had enough time for the open Q&A to be able to really kind of answer those questions from you guys. But let's actually kind of get onto that, because I think that was everything I have. Oh, very good. Awesome. That's really weird, pianist. They have that. All right. Let's. So that was basically how my first week in, but I do want to let some of you guys know that. Let me actually skip over. So let me get to the teaching resources and Discord that I have. So I just want to kind of let you know, since this first week, basically I just it was kind of funny. As I mentioned, it was like kind of going back to like the beginning of the year. It's like, hey guys, like here's how class is going to be run. Like let's run through the syllabus and kind of going over all of this information that I needed to cover. But once we start getting into instruction, which is going to be within the next week or so, I want to just let you guys know, for any teachers that are out there that are kind of interested, or even students that could benefit from this, as far as a couple things that I have in store. First of all, the Discord group is just another group that I created. So therefore, you guys can just ask questions. It's free. You can just go ahead and sign up. I put the link into the description. I am going to still be making posts for my open Q&A, but instead of encouraging people to ask their questions on the community chat, I'm going to ask for them to go ahead and go to the Discord, just because there it's a way for us to easily interact with each other, as well as to help each other out with their questions. You can post pictures of your questions a lot easier. A lot of that stuff, it was very difficult sometimes asking for questions, and people just either their problems were like more advanced and it was difficult to like write in something, or at least in this Discord, you can just like take a picture of it and send it over there. And then it's a little bit easier to also have dialogue, and then also other people can kind of like chime in as well. So I am hoping that it's something that we can continue to grow, and therefore the more and more people that we have in that, the more people I think will want to get some questions, and then your questions will be answered hopefully sooner. So as of this point, I kind of broke them down into different topics, and therefore you can provide questions as hopefully also help people with their questions. That is the overall goal. I know there's a lot of other websites and everything else that does that, and I think those are some great ideas, but I also think it's one of the nice thing is, just having a community where people can be able to help each other out, I think is something very beneficial. And math can be very stressful. And sometimes, when you don't know where to go, or if you don't feel comfortable on a given website and typing in, or or somebody is explaining something and it's more difficult than what you were looking for, that's what I'm hoping that this can be a great place for some of you guys to get help. I also want to let you guys know that I will be adding a card as well as a link to this live stream. I decided at the beginning of the week too, and this is the other problem, with going live, is a lot of the stuff that I typically do at night, or I prepare for my classroom, I do at night, right? And so even during the day, I have a little bit more free time because I'm not like driving to school, teaching the whole class period, and come back. But it's still like I'm not able to complete everything I want to complete within the day. And typically I usually work in the evenings, around this time if I'm not going live, to create my resources. But one of the things I want to do, because one of my ideas that I had throughout this week is I was just amazed by how overwhelmed I was teaching this week. I go live, I already record all of my lessons. So I'm used to setting up my lessons, recording my lessons. I already go live every week. I've been doing that every single day. So I'm used to the technology. I'm used to talking in front of a camera. All that stuff is not an issue for me. And for some reason, having my classes online instead of inside the classroom was extremely stressful for me. It was just like that overwhelm of not really knowing what you're everything's new and it's different. Even though I felt like I'm probably one of the most prepared teachers out there, it was stressful. So therefore that made me think, I can only imagine how stressful it was for teachers that, have never had to prepare all their, lessons online, or that are struggling with the technology piece, or are just not used to being on a camera or recording their lessons or anything like that. Those are just on top of all the stuff I had. So what I decided to do is I decided to take my lesson videos that I basically, I do pre-record for pre-calculus, and basically just patch them together on the same website, on my website, and then just make that available for you guys. So obviously I have all my videos, on YouTube, but it is kind of difficult to really kind of follow them in a sequential order. What video do you watch next, right? So basically my channel is just there as a resource. If you're looking for certain types of videos, you can search them, you can scroll through them, and I have a lot. I don't have everything, but I have a lot. But one of the things I've done for my students the last couple of years is I have created a organization of the lessons, so therefore they know what to do as we're working through the topic. And I know not everybody teaches pre-calculus the exact same. I know not everybody's on the same topics and everything else, but hopefully some of what I've already taught this year and what I'm going to be teaching for the rest of the year can help some teachers to be able to provide those videos to the students. Because one thing I wanted to let you know what I'm doing this year is I am kind of doing the flipped classroom. I don't do flipped classroom while I'm in the class, while I teach, but that's something I'm going to do this time. I'm going to be sending my students my lesson video, and then we will go live during actual class, and I'll answer their questions, what they didn't understand from the work I did. So hopefully for any of the teachers out there, or even students that that would benefit. I don't have everything ready yet because I've just been so busy. I went live on Monday. On Tuesday, I was trying to get prepared again for this week, so I didn't have that time. And then tonight, I'm going live again. So I plan to have that out and ready on Wednesday. So if you're watching this video and the link is not up, then just make sure you check into it by the end of this week, and I will make sure I have it because I am putting that out into the internet. So of course it has to happen. So that's something hopefully, and also if you're on my email list, if you've gone to the free math videos and joined my email list, then I'll also be sending you a link to that as well. So that is just another way that you can go ahead and get that. All right, that is all of the fun stuff that I wanted to chat with you guys about. I did have one little math problem, and I am here to maybe see if I can help out anybody else that maybe has a simple basic math problem, not something that's going to take like 8 hours for me to go ahead and research back again. But I was just joking with him because he gave me a good problem. I was like, that's a great problem. I've just not something I've taught or done recently, so I would need to take time, go ahead and looking that over. All right. John, hi everyone. Well, hi, John. Aaron, good to see you. A great problem for someone who has time. It is a great problem. And I really would like to actually like the more he's posting, I'm like, man, I really actually want to work it out. Like after I get through this live stream, just kind of like play around things. Because I think that's I'm curious. I'm curious to see how that problem would be solved. Like he sparked my curiosity. The only problem is I don't have the time that it would take to go ahead and solve or look through the problem and verify things. Can you solve a problem on a trapezoid? Oh, a trapezoid. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Depends. It's been a while from the trapezoid, so I'm not sure I remember everything to a T. Obviously, we know like the basic properties of a trapezoid, but I know sometimes it can be difficult. But if you go ahead and provide it in Discord, it'd probably be a little bit easier to present the information that way. I have a math project for trig honors school. Awesome. What calculus topic related? What is a calculus topic related to vectors? Well, you'll get into a lot of those with the vectors. Can you help me with the problems? One of the angles. Yeah, I would just say aquatic. I'm not going to go through as far as on that. That's 27 if one angle is 56. I have to go and see. You'd probably have to, well, you're definitely going to want to use trig for on that problem. So actually, I can go ahead and at least help you out with that. So you have 27 and 85. So let's just go ahead and say if you want to find what the area. See, the problem is, at least with this, I don't know what you know, so what you could use. I'm hoping that you I've already kind of covered trig, because if this is 56 degrees and that's 27 and that's 85, then what you need to do is go ahead and create a perpendicular line to the base and call that height. So the height is going to be, again, that's opposite over hypotenuse. So the sine of 56 degrees equals h over 27. So then multiply by 27 on both sides. So 27 times the sine of 56 degrees. Now I do not know what that is, but again, to find the area of the parallelogram, you would just have your height times your height times your base, and if that's going to be 27, that's going to be your 85, but I don't recall this thing. Yeah, so then your height times your base would be for your parallelogram. As far as on your vectors, I covered the Calc 1 going back through it, but it's not something I have it's not something that it's been a long time for me to be looking at the vectors spaces with the calculus. So I would just go ahead and research it up, because nothing's coming to the top of my mind as far as, at least I taught Calc 1 AB, and we did not use vector format. So I would just go ahead and take a look at what are some applications that you have. Obviously, we deal with vectors in pre-calculus, and so obviously that's going to be a continuation there. All right. Whoa. A lot of questions coming in. Well, thank you very much, guys. There's a lot of questions, not a lot of questions, but a lot of thank yous, which I do appreciate. I'm happy to be able to help you guys out. But there's a lot of questions coming through. So, guys, I'm not going to be able to get to all of these questions. I am going to also cover this graphing y equals secant of x over 3. But again, guys, I would highly recommend that you go ahead and join that Discord. So therefore, you can ask those questions, because it's just not conducive a lot of times. Aiden, I did see your question, and I will go ahead and get to that one. So why did I write number 5? I don't know. Oh, number 5. What's that going to do? Yeah, but I definitely recommend going and checking out that. So therefore, you can post your questions, because a lot of these, there's no way I'm going to be able to get to everybody's question. And then also a lot of the questions, I just need time to like write them down. I need time to like create, read them, and they're just not really good for me to cover on, live streams. So I know there are questions that you have, and but sometimes they're just not good. It's just not a good use of the time to cover on live streams. I want to cover problems that I can basically address rather easily and rather quickly for everybody's sake. The Discord link is in my description of this live stream, or at least it should be in the description. Let me double check that I did that correctly. Yes, it is on the description of this live stream. It should just say math questions, and then you should have a Discord invitation. And then you can just go there, and then you can basically just kind of post some questions from there. So I am in Discord daily for a couple other servers. So again, just because you post a question doesn't mean I'm going to answer it. But I try to reply to people that I can, or at least offer some suggestions. And then there's also people in there that are answering questions as well. So my goal is to have a large enough community where people will get a response rather quickly, either from myself or from somebody else that will be timely, and therefore they can help them out. And I don't think the best way for you guys to go about mathematics is to always get the answer, but to have somebody explain why you're doing something or how to approach a problem. So I didn't write that down in like the community rules, but I think that's some of the important things for you guys to have. Sin of 6 equal to, so sine of x equal to 1/5 equal to sine inverse of 1/5. I'm not sure what your question, but yes, you could say x is equal to sine inverse of 1/2, Ali. Yeah, sorry for the AP Calc question problems. Not a problem. It's I haven't taught AP Calc though in a couple of years, so it's just not something I'd be like, oh, let me go back and explain, help you out with these, problems. It's just something that I just want to like review a little bit more. And some of those problems I would remember, but I want to make sure that, especially for like the AP or anything above that, it's just not stuff that I've, have recently taught or explained. So I don't want to be like fumbling through my explanations and like doing a little circular reason and be like, oh, well, it's like this. And then like, oh, wait, no, I forgot. No, it's like this. That's not really helping anybody out. Is it that hard of a long question for a stream? I don't know what your question is, Jose, or what question you are referring to. I have a lot of questions up there. My school just got closed until May 1st. Yeah, it's going to be kind of interesting, Christian, to see. I assume we're closed till April 15th or something like that. I'm assuming that's just going to keep on getting pushed and pushed, and figured it's just going to be canceled outright. I don't know why they're playing the game like we're planning on going to school. I just highly doubt that there's going to be any school that that got canceled that's going to return, unless there is something crazy great news that comes out with that. Yeah, I haven't done converges or diverges in very, very, very long time, so I would not be able to properly explain the process for that. That's not something I've taught or done in a very, very long time. Unfortunately, I apologize, but that's just not a problem that I will be able to go out and cover for you. This one problem having issues with you want to do it on stream is just factoring. Yeah, but that's not factorable. The only thing you can factor, Tyler, is out of x. That is not a factorable polynomial. So the only thing you could factor out would be an x. Are you a real teacher? That is a good question. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. Maybe I just do math videos in front of a fake classroom, and then I just go live at night to pretend I'm a teacher. It's an interesting theory there. I'm thinking about it. Hard vectors. Arden, I don't have everything as far as you're acting a little bit more as far as into the calculus, where I don't have everything on top of me. It's been way too long since I have gotten deep into the calculus. So I apologize. I'm not going to be able to get to really further provide you great explanations with vectors into past what I am currently teaching. It's just been too long for me to go through all that. Oh, you want to find the complex roots? Yeah, you can factor it across your imaginary numbers, but a little bit difficult to understand it that way, what I would probably recommend doing is doing the quadratic formula to find the zeros and then writing the zeros as a root. So kind of a difficult process to kind of think through, but I would just, again, if you find like, just remember all your zeros, like if you have x equals 3 as a 0, well then x minus 3 is the factor, okay? So the same thing, I would use the quadratic formula to find the complex zeros, and then from the complex zeros, write them in as your factors. I do not have any book recommendations. Sorry about that. All right, let me see if there's any other questions. Yeah, as far as I know, I don't know about all the other exams. I know that for AP Calculus, they're only doing the FRQs. But that's all I really know because I haven't taught AP Calculus in a couple years, but I still do follow a lot of the information and what's coming out there, at least for my school, just to kind of make sure I'm still in the know. And yeah, I heard they took away all the multiple choice for this year. It's just going to be the FRQs. All right. All right, guys. Well, I know I missed some of your questions, guys. I do apologize for that. I am going to go ahead and get into at least these 2 questions that I do have. And then if you guys do have some questions that you want to add, again, like I'm providing the Discord link for you guys to continually ask those questions because, I always, as a teacher, I want to help as many students as possible. And I know sometimes it can be frustrating to have a question and, want me to be able to answer it or to, give you some help. And it's just impossible for me to do it on every stream, especially since the more I talk, the more questions keep on coming in. So it's a losing proposition that's never going to get solved. But if you would like an extra opportunity to present your question, and I can see what I can do if I am able to help you out, but if not, hopefully there's somebody out there that will also join and decide to help you with your question. But let's go ahead and get into this because I was answering another question for a student actually in the Discord about graphing secant. And so I was trying to explain it to them, like, because the thing is, guys, like for graphing secant, like I have a whole playlist on graphing the secant function. I have multiple videos of graphing secant. So, when I'm explaining something, typically I want like trying to answer the direct questions on there because there's multiple videos of myself and other people explaining how to do this step by step. But I will go through that right now, just kind of going through how I would graph this. So rather than finding the information, which I typically do in the class, if the student wanted to graph it, what I would do is I would graph y equals the cosine of x over 3. Okay, so there's only really one transformation that's going on here is my period is being changed from 2 pi to now being, you can see that's going to be horizontally stretched by a factor of 1/3. So the period is going to be 2 pi divided by b. Well, b is what is multiplied by your x, right? So you could write this as cosine of 1/3 x, right? 1/3 x is the same thing as x over 3. So that's going to be p divided by 1/3. So therefore multiplied by the reciprocal. So that'd be, so you could just multiply by 3 over 1 over 3 over 1. And that would give you 6 pi. That means instead of the graph taking 2 pi to repeat itself, so let's go ahead and write the initial period of cosine. So the initial graph looks like this, right? It completes a period at 2 pi. Okay, well now the period is being transferred to 6 pi, okay? But again, this is for cosine. This is not even for secant. So, but I'm just going to go ahead and sketch the graph for secant. Now, typically, a lot of times we'll do like 2 periods or whatever else. I'm just going to do the initial period. I'm just going to do this initial period. Also, remember that the graph goes up to 1, down to -1. None of that's changing. The only transformation we have is a horizontal stretch. So I'm going to use a dashed line, though, because it's actually not the graph. Okay, and we're going to say that's 6 pi. And therefore, this would be at 3 pi. Okay, now the important thing to understand about the cosine graph is, first of all, wherever there's x-intercepts, those are going to be the asymptotes of the secant graph, right? Because we need to understand the relationship here between the secant and the cosine graph. Remember that secant of x is 1 over cosine of x. So if cosine is equal to 0 here, then 1 over 0 would be undefined for secant. That's why we do these horizontal or the vertical asymptotes where the cosine graph would be 0. Then when we look at just the reciprocal image, well, that's the reciprocal of each of these, right? So secant is just every value of cosine over 1. Well, what that does is that basically is just they flipped a mirrored image of the graphs. So you can just sketch this secant graph just like that. So that's exactly what I told a student on Discord. I said, go ahead and find the graph of cosine. Make sure you apply the x-intercepts, or I'm sorry, the asymptotes where the x-intercepts occur, and then basically graph the flipped image. Now, I spend a whole day explaining all of this, so I'm just trying to do the best I can within like a minute or a couple minutes. All right, now let's go and get into another question here. Is solving for x using the distributive, or just solve for x. So in this case, you guys can see we have an x on the left and the right-hand side. And we also have x's inside of the parentheses. Well, the goal, guys, of solving an equation is to isolate the x, get it down to 1x, and then by itself. So the first thing we want to do is get rid of these parentheses, all right? So to get rid of these parentheses, I can get rid of why they're being used. They're being used to show on the left side that negative 9 is being multiplied by 5x minus 6. So I'm just going to distribute that negative 9. Here we have parentheses because 5 is being multiplied by 7x and a 2. So I'm going to distribute the 5. So therefore, when I do that, I get a negative 45x. Negative 9 times negative 6 is a positive 54. 5 times 7 is a 35x. 5 times 2 is a positive 10. Okay, so now I have distributed to eliminate my variables. The next thing I want to do is get the variable by itself. Now, typically, we always like to get the variable like on the left-hand side, typically. However, sometimes I also like to say, why don't we just get the variable so therefore it is, therefore it's going to be positive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the 45x on both sides. So to add 45x, therefore negative 45x plus 45x goes to 0x, which is just 0. So I'll be left with a 54 equals, let's see, that's 10. That 30 plus 40 is 70 plus 10, which is going to be an 80x plus 10. And now what we have arrived as at our magical two-step equation. And that's very, very important because two-step equations is one of the most important things that we kind of get to in like algebra 1. Like now, hopefully it's very familiar on what to do. First thing you want to do is undo addition and subtraction. Again, we're trying to isolate this x, right? So we're just undoing what's happening to the x. So I'll subtract a 10 on both sides. That gives me a 44 is equal to an 80x. Now I'm going to undo multiplication by dividing by an 80 on both sides. Okay. And then we just basically want to see what divides into the top and the bottom. Well, I know 4 divides into the top 11 times, and 4 divides into the bottom 20 times. So we can have a final answer of 11x equals 11 over 20, or you can just rewrite it as 11x equals 11 over 20. Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I see. Hey, good to see you, Addie and Zach. Thank you very much. Nelly, appreciate it. Yoselin, you are very welcome. Brian, real quick, if I leave a question in Discord geometry, will you answer? Maybe, maybe not. I will try to do my best. I mean, you got to think I'm only one person. I have my own classes that I'm teaching. So I also have all my work that I got to do for my own classes. So I don't promise anything. I always want to, and I'm in Discord all the time, so I'll try to get to your question. But if I'm not able to answer it, and again, you guys see, I already denied a whole bunch of people their questions just because I didn't feel like either I didn't immediately have the answer or I didn't feel great providing an explanation for them just on a live stream. It was something I'm like, I really need to think about this, or I really want to look some things up before I would provide you with a explanation on a live stream, right? So I might be able to, but maybe sometimes not. But there's a lot of really, really highly qualified people that could also answer your question. So that's the kind of idea of the Discord, is not to have to rely on me answering every single question, but hopefully people will be able to help each other out for that. Ali, I saw your question, and I've already said I am not going to be able to get to it on the live stream. But I do appreciate you posting it, and I appreciate you posting it back into the Discord as well. So therefore, I can play around with it because I am kind of curious to see what I could do with that. But again, it might be something that somebody else will be able to help you out with as well. Because yeah, I don't have 2 hours to spend working on a random math problem, even though I'd love to. Don't really mind it. But yeah, I gotta get prepared, and I also gotta get those teaching resources that I told you guys I would say I would do. But keep those questions coming, guys. And again, also a reminder, there is that open Q&A. I still will be doing that this Sunday, so you guys can also get your questions ready for that, and you guys can just add them to the stream there. So, all right, guys, I am going to sign off for the evening, but I will plan on doing this live stream on Wednesdays to kind of check in with you guys and do a little math. And then also I'll do the live stream on Sunday, which is my open Q&A, which I try to do as many math problems as I possibly can from there. So hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for joining me on the live stream. I hope you guys are having a great week and a great experience with school being out. I know it's tough. I know it's weird. I know it's just doesn't seem like right. But hopefully that we will get things under control and we can get back, because it is so much. It is nice to be able to see people and have that community, that interaction with your students. And it's kind of tough. I can't even imagine, like, if we didn't already know my students, how this would be going on. So either way, guys, stay safe, and I will see you on the next stream. All right, cheers.